Good evening, darlings, and welcome to yet another video request with me. So I'm so glad that you all have tuned in yet again, and for all of you out there who have given all of your support, I am so touched. Oh my goodness, there are so many of you who have recently joined me, and thank you so much for that. I hope that I can make something that you will love. Now, tonight is a little bit more serious. This is going to be the response to the 5th question I got for Greenwood Talks, but that I felt I needed to address personally outside of that in a little bit more of a formal capacity, because there are some serious implications to this question, and well, darlings, I wasn't exactly sure if I was even going to if I was going to actually do this video, because well, it's very personal, you know. It deals with my relationship, or one from my past, and I just wasn't particularly sure if I could talk about that. But I told you that I would be completely honest and straightforward and take any request, and so I am going to do that, darling, because I keep my word. After all, what is a king good for if not his word? So, cheers, I'm going to do it anyhow. Now, I did feel a little hurt. Perhaps it was just by the way I interpreted this, so I apologize. But there are some very serious implications to this sort of accusation, you know, and so that is part of why I feel the way that I do about this. So we are going to, I'm going to read it, of course, so that you all know a little bit about why I feel the way that I do, and hopefully that will sort of bring you up to speed on where I'm at a little bit mentally at this point. So, this of course is anonymous. Of course this sort of thing is anonymous. So, you've had a relationship with a mortal, have you? I mean, I did say that in my last video, and so I can't take that back, but I was emotionally distressed at the time, darling, and you're bringing up a very sensitive subject. It continues on, of course. Was he perhaps a king? Can you talk about that a little more? Darling. Why do you assume it was a he? It could have been a she. I mean, after all, my only other relationship that I have ever had in my entire life, you know, which is not exactly short, was with a woman. So why would you assume that I would go for a man next? Not that there's anything wrong if that's the way that you are, but darling, me? Honestly, me? You think I would go in for a mortal man? I mean, I suppose it would explain my son a bit, but why would you just assume? It could have been anyone, you know. Well, not anyone, but you know, it could have been a woman. You don't know that for sure. Now, I said I would be honest. So of course, I want to remain as honest as I can about all of this. So, fine, darling. You're right. It was someone with a connection to a royal family. I'm man enough to admit that, but why do you assume that it was a man? Is there something about me that reads as particularly leaning towards that sort of inclination? Perhaps it's a cultural thing. Perhaps you just don't understand what elves are like, and that's why you've come up with this sort of thing all to yourself. And I had to consult with a friend, darling, because I was a little bit upset about this, about perhaps where this could have been coming from, and I was informed that there was a few events in my past that perhaps could be read as less than straight. And so I suppose if you've heard about those, then maybe I could see how, in light of everything happening with my son, that perhaps you might interpret certain things in a different light. But but how do you know? How do you know that it wasn't a Lady of Dale, or perhaps someone like Lady Dis or something? Not that I'm saying that I had any relationship with Lady Dis. Please don't twist my words around now, darlings. I'm just saying you don't know. You don't know, and perhaps that's why you're asking. So perhaps it was a man. I'm just saying you shouldn't assume, darling. Just because that was true doesn't mean that you should necessarily just assume like that. You know, you just should always have an open mind about people. I don't know why you would just go in for that, and I'm a little hurt, darlings, that you would assume that, whether or not it's true. So I said I would tell the truth. I'm going to be truthful about this situation. So fine. It was someone related to a royal lineage, but that's all I'm willing to say, darlings. And honestly, I'm not sure why you're so interested. Of course, I'm so happy that you are taking an interest in my personal life, but I just need a little more wine. No matter, that's why we have 2 bottles when we do these things, isn't it? So, all right, it was a man of royal lineage, but that's all I'm going to say about it. After all, it was something that happened just once, never more than that, and so I just don't understand why this is such a big deal anyhow. And of course, darlings, I'm so glad that you've taken an interest in my personal life. But that's all there is to it. So that's just going to be that's going to be the end of it. Shh. That's all that there is to talk about. And so I really just feel like these are unfounded accusations.
I just need to talk to you.
We'll talk later, darling. And so, yes, I would like to go ahead and thank you all for your questions. I'm sorry that I'm not willing to talk about anything further.
All right, well, I love you.
About this particular thing.
Why don't you want to say it?
So yes, so that's wonderful. Thank you all so much. What are you doing? Aren't you
I'm just watching you do your video.
Just go. Leave me alone. So sorry about the interruptions. I promise that won't happen in future. I will lock the door. Usually I close it, but it was just a lovely day out, so I thought that I would let the breeze in, and unfortunately let more than just that in, and I will strangle the offender for that. So you don't have to worry about that happening ever again. And anyhow, it's not like these accusations are founded whatsoever in anything happening right now. It's all in the past. It's never... It's not going to happen again. So, anyhow, darlings, thank you so much for this video, and I'm going to go now, but again, thank you, and send me any more suggestions below, and yes, so, have a pleasant evening. Ta-ta.